One of the, and we've already started jumping into this, but one of the things that, I find fascinating, and it's already fascinating in how you're describing it, is how you've taken matters into your own hands. There's a lot of tools, Payful is one of them, but there's just a lot of tools out there that have made procurement cool again. And certainly there's been a lot of attention on that market. What was really amazing when I met you was you've built it yourself. And we'll go into the limits and where there are improvements, obviously. But tell me where you started, where you are now, the kind of skills that you've had to develop to build this, so that maybe someone else, at a company that is Personio 2 years ago, can get inspired and think through, man, I should really do this, or maybe they should take another tool, but help them understand and get inspired by what you've done.
Yeah. So I think kind of like the beginning was that Trivago was also managing the tools, and back our procurement solution implemented. It was like off the shelf solution with some
Procurement IT.
You mean the tool?
No, you were the procurement IT guy.
Yeah. Procurement officer, I like to call it. Yeah. And we made the experience. We reviewed a lot of vendors that looked fine on the website, was fine, nice user interface, a lot of white space, a lot of pastel colors. But then the tool itself was quite surface level, right? It didn't do a lot of things. We had like a lot of, limitations of what we could build. And it was a bit difficult to work with it, right? So usually you talk with the customer success manager, you have product features that are critical for your process, and they push it to product, and then you never hear back, right? You never hear back from them. So when we started Personio, there was no procurement solution. That was kind of the interesting thing for me. And then, okay, we had to decide, either we buy something. It's one of big old school, huge procurement solutions, which we didn't feel fits our needs. Like we're not a manufacturing company. Our supply chain is internet and a MacBook, right? We have some stuff running AWS, but we don't buy data centers. So that's it. Like furniture and food and beverages, but you don't need a Coupa for this, right? So definitely that's not a solution. Then one of these more modern solutions, also like Payflows. Back then, to be fair, I think none of them existed. So in the last 2-3 years, really kind of, it's like came out of nowhere, which I'm very happy about. Back then was definitely less tools. And we, I think everyone knows the big modern ones. We kind of spoke of all of them, and it was fine. But it was just intake. It was just a form builder with the database behind it. And if I'm not able to work with the database, to do things with the data that I have, then I can just build with a Google form practically, right? It's not much. So we decided, okay, let's do it on our own. And then we can really have like very specific processes tied to our company, to our needs. So we just looked at what we have. And what do we have at the company? Jira, we had at the company, we had Google Drive, DocuSign, all these kind of tools. And this kind of like fits into kind of the approach that I think is the best. Also looking forward to P2P is that it's not one big solution where everybody has to go, and it's more like an orchestration layer that you kind of pick up the people where they work right now, and then they kind of fit into the process that you have. So in this
is music to my ear.
Yeah, I can imagine. So in one example, in my previous company, we had this tool, and then legal worked somewhere else. So we said, okay, well, you can just easily go into our tool and then review it, and then everybody's happy, everything is good. But nobody does it because they have their own process, they have their tool. They don't want to learn another solution. They don't want to go into ours. So what happens? We push into a legal step. We had to go to their tool, create a ticket, and then update to our. It didn't make any sense, right? So we said that we're definitely not doing this.
It's what I like to call human API. Human feeding data from one system to another.
Yeah, just copy pasting, right?
Yeah.
And at Personio, we're big Jira users, and everything runs through Jira. We don't have any other ticketing solution. So we said, perfect, we take Jira as a front end, 100%, because we don't need to do any user training. We don't need to teach them how to log into SAP or Microsoft Dynamics and fill out the 20th under page of a request ticket. Everybody knows
So
how
that's
to use
adoption, which is the point that we had earlier.
like this, right? How can I reach out? Oh, this is the link. Okay, nice, thank you so much. It's there's adoptions like very well because they know how to use Jira. So this is what we used, but then obviously we need some kind of tool in the back because not everything you can do out of Jira, right? Like a lot of internal things. So we went with ClickUp, and it's quite well connected. Everything happens in Jira, kind of like synced into ClickUp, and then in the back in ClickUp we have other stuff like vendors, like contracts. Now new in Ironclad as well. We can drop some brand names maybe if we're here. It's a new
We
tool.
love working with all those companies. I mean, we
Yeah,
orchestrate them. So
they're kind of happy about this right now too, right? And then, purchase orders, life cycle tasks, all these kind of things, right? So kind of really just started with the basic intake, just request, it goes into our system. From that, it developed into more features. So what I mentioned before, the freelancer process, where we have surveys that go out to the freelancer, automated. We have a very nice life cycle automation. So usually what happens is you sign a contract and then goes into a black box for 12 months. And then 1 month before the renewal, you ask,
everyone
hey,
goes crazy. Shit, did we miss it?
Want to renew? Oh no, it was really bad. Didn't perform at all. It's like, why didn't you tell us before? To be fair, it's also kind of our job to ask, hey, all good? Okay, good, right? And the month before the renewal, it's not enough time because then the vendor's like, well, why didn't you tell us before? We could have solved the issue somehow. So what we're doing now, we create the contract, the order form based on the data. We create life cycles, like a little tickets, and then you get a Slack survey depending on certain times, right? Like we have like a 12-month contract, it's once in the middle. You just submit it, basic information, not too much, with some funny gifts at the end, right? So that everybody's happy submitting it. And then we kind of like have it in our ClickUp. We have a dashboard on it, and we can kind of see all the time. Yes, and if we see, okay, somebody was not happy with the tool, we can reach out straight away to the person. And the good thing is completely automated, right? It doesn't require a lot of additional effort. So that's something where we